Hey everyone, I'm your host, Courtney Massey.
And I'm your host, Valerie David, and this is the night session. Oh, it's Australian Open week one.
Yay! I am so tired. How about you guys? Are you guys awake?
Woo! I'm not.
Oh my gosh. I feel like death, really. And we have another week. Like, it's not even close to being over. And, I'm having fun. I'm helping Outside the Ball live tweet, interact with fans. And I love looking at everybody's selfies and stuff and all the hashtags. But gosh, I wish it was at a better hour. I really do.
The evening stuff's not bad. It's like the early matches in Australia are pretty. It starts at 6, and you can go to like midnight or something. That's not bad. And then it's always like the night session matches are like really the good matchups most of the time. And it's like, oh, that'll start at 3:30 a.m. It's like, I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of these days this week I stayed up to 7, and it was, Kokonakis's or not Kokonakis.
I was gonna say that was that
Sorry,
was
sorry,
you really
Curios, but
haven't been
sorry,
sleeping.
Kokonakis is there for the record,
He is. He is.
but it was Curios's match, and Kokonakis was at that match, so and they showed him in the box. Again, really tired. Okay, so Curios, is match against Burditch, maybe? Was that the match that went really late? And he was complaining
Probably.
about the music and stuff.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I ended up not finishing that match because it was already 7 a.m. and the sun was coming up, and I just went, you know what, I have to go to bed. I was wide awake, but I just forced myself to go to bed because I'm like, I have work to do. Like tomorrow, I can't keep doing this. So yeah, but Australian Open has been pretty interesting so
Yes.
far.
And we're just gonna start off with something that happened last night, very late. I stayed up late to watch the Ana Ivanovic match, and she was playing. I have no idea who. She was playing Madison Keys. And they got like about a set into it, and they were also showing Murray's match interspersed. And then all of a sudden, there was like a huge delay in Anna's match, which they were kind of unbelievably, they were, couldn't believe it that this happened a second time because in their previous match, someone had collapsed in the crowd and they had to bring paramedics in, and there was a huge delay in the match. And then it was happening again tonight. And then Anna was looking up and she said, I think that's my coach. And so this big flurry of activity started and everything. It turned out her coach, Nigel Sears, who incidentally is also Murray's father in law, hadn't been feeling well, and they tried to escort him off the court and he fell on the stairs. He like collapsed. And so they brought paramedics in, and then like ensued like an hour of Twitter just guessing what had happened. The commentators on ESPN didn't even talk about it for like 20 minutes because they had no information. And then when they did, then they just like that was all they talked about, and they kept zooming in on Judy Murray and Andy Murray's box and going, "Is anyone going to tell Andy? Are they going to stop the match?" And they like created this huge drama out of it.
First of all, no, they're not going to stop the match.
No, especially when they don't know anything.
Yeah, like I doubt they would stop the match anyway. I feel like I mean unless something terribly drastic happened.
Right.
Uh,
Well, it was pretty severe. They said that I finally got Pam out there. She said that they used a defibrillator on him,
oh
and they took him
jeez.
off in a stretcher. So it was pretty serious. But Jamie Murray was back there, and he talked to some journalists, and he said that Nigel was up and awake and responsive, and they took him to the hospital for tests and stuff. And so they gave Anna the choice of continuing the match or not, which I thought was nice. And when she found out that it seemed like he was okay, she decided to continue. So then they came out and played. I said it was like about an hour delay. And
Yeah.
she did pretty well considering how she must have been pretty emotional. And then she was up in the third set, and then she eventually lost to Madison Keys. So it's kind of a rough day for her. But I haven't heard any more news today. I kept checking Twitter, and it doesn't seem like anybody has any further updates. So we're just hoping that he's okay. That was the I said it happened at like 3 o'clock in the morning, so I think a lot of people were asleep, and so
Yeah.
they hadn't heard about it. So
Yeah, that's definitely very scary and had to be very hard for Anna.
yes,
You
especially
know.
because they had like no information. I mean, the referee that was on the court was telling her, "Well, I don't know if that was him," and it's just so it's like, not only was she worried, but then there was no information, and it seemed like it took forever for the paramedics to get there. So it was pretty insane. So I said it seemed like it was mostly good news by the end of the night. So we're hoping that it stays that way.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to move along into the rest of the tournament, which is kind of like Wimbledon from a couple of years ago. There were a lot of upsets. This was the biggest one that Fernando Verdasco took out Rafa in the first round, playing extraordinary tennis. I believe this was the one where he hit 111 mile per hour forehand down the line. It was just insane. And you can see like comes completely off the ground. It's just he was hitting pretty much every shot like that. It made me laugh because his speech, the interview after this match, he sounded like Roberta Vinci when she beat Serena, where she said, I just ran and hit it, ran and hit it, ran and hit it," and that's what Nando said. He said, "I was closing my eyes and everything was going in, so I just kept going." And so he finished with 90 winners and 90 errors.
Oh my god.
So it was like I retweeted that stat with "fortune favors the brave," and it was like that's the only way that he could have won this match because Rafa was not playing poorly, especially at the beginning. And I mean, he won. Fernando was down 2 sets to 1, so
Yeah.
this wasn't like Rafa just fell apart or something. I mean, it was a extraordinary match.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a foregone conclusion that Nando would eventually lose.
Yeah, I did too. I went to bed. I remember because I go, this was a really good match. And I go, but it got to a certain point where I go, oh, Rafa's going to win. And I
Yes.
think I went to bed or I did something else. I don't know. I stopped watching and I go, oh, Rafa's going to win. And then I woke up and it was the upset. I go, oh, man.
I know.
Because it
Well,
was really good tennis. And I go, this is a really
yes.
good match. But I got to a certain point where I go, oh, Rafa's going to win. I'll go to bed. And yeah, I was very, very wrong.
Yeah. And I was going to do the same thing. I was going to give up on it because I love Verdasco, and it's broken my heart forever that he lost that epic match in 2009.
Yeah.
That he would have gotten to the final of the Australian Open, and it was so close, and it was like the best tennis Fernando ever played, and it's kind of like Andy Roddick's Wimbledon against
Oh, yeah.
Roger. Like it kind of destroyed him a little bit after that, I think, where you're like, I've played my best and I still lost.
Oh,
And so for him to get revenge, I was like so wanting that. But it was like at around the third set, I'm going, I should go to bed because I'm just going to be depressed again because I'm going to get my hopes up.
yeah.
And I'm like, I was like, oh, I don't. And then he started playing well again in the fourth set, and I went, oh shit, he's trying.
He's
I gotta stick with him.
he's
And I
trying.
would, yeah, I was just, I started typing a tweet like 3 times during the course of the match because everyone was really giving Fernando crap about, of course, he's going to choke. Oh, he choked that set away. Oh, it's inevitable he's going to lose again. Why is he bothering to push it to a fifth set? It's just going to end badly and all this kind of stuff. And I kept typing this tweet like, it's not 2009 anymore. Fernando's 32. The fact that he's playing this well is amazing. Just
Yeah.
shut up. It was like it didn't even matter if he won. Getting to see him play like this was so incredible. It was like, just enjoy it. don't pick on him for playing well, you know. So I kept starting typing it, and I'm like, you know what? Then it's like you're assuming he's gonna lose. Maybe he isn't. So I
Yeah.
kept deleting the tweet. I'm like, I don't want to jinx him. Maybe
Yeah.
he's gonna win it.
I do that too, where I'm like, where I start to say something, and I'm like, Jinx, don't say it. Don't put that out in the universe.
Exactly. Yeah, it's when they put those stats up, like he's never lost or whatever, and I'm like, I'm not retweeting that.
Yeah.
I don't want to put that out. When the match is over, I'll retweet that. But right now, I don't want to. I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that actually made me laugh because that was something too that they brought up to Roger after one of his matches, and they said, you know what? Do you know what slam, number of slam match wins you have? And he goes, oh, I think somebody talked about it this week. Is it 300? And the guy goes, no, it's 299. And Roger looks at him and goes, you're going to jinx me. And I'm like, right. I'm like, who told this guy to, let's tell Roger you're one away.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So that was kind of hilarious. But yeah, this Nando, and I said at the time, I'm like, Nando has a chance to go at least a couple more rounds because then he's got the lower ranked players. But even if he doesn't, I don't care, because I'm just so glad he got this. And it's like a little bit of a consolation for that 2009 match. It's like it's not a final, but you took Rafa out of a slam. So,
Yeah.
it's like a little bit of revenge. And they actually said that Nando had said in press that he's watched that 2009 match like 10 times over.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going, you like self-torture?
Yeah. Definitely.
So even though he actually he got injured in this match, to me, he hurt his foot going up for a shot. It was one of those weird things where they stop too fast or something, and they tweak their foot. And he started walking kind of like stiffly for the rest of the match, but he was just hitting winners from every corner, so he really didn't have to move that much. But then when he, 2 days later, when everything locks up, when you've played a 5-set match against Rafa, your body is like screaming. When he played Sela, and Sela played a great match, of course. It was just like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
But I was still happy for him that he won this. And I said just the level of tennis was so great to watch for a first round,
Yeah, for sure. Because I even texted my friend who I don't know has been watching tennis at all this week, and I said, this is a really good match.
Yeah. So we can go on to the other tab. And her talk about the tournament of upsets. and I have to read this. I had to type out a list, and there's 21 21 upsets. And this is just in the first couple rounds.
All right, grab some popcorn, everybody.
Grab some popcorn. Okay,
sit tight.
Yeah. And mostly there's 5 for the men. The rest are all the women. So Karlovic retired to Delbonis. So that was a big hitter out of the tournament. This was an upset, not as far as a seed, but it was still completely shocking. Benoit Paire lost in straight set tiebreaks to Noah Rubin, who's an American player that only the diehard American tennis fans even know who he is.
He's cute, though.
He has turned into a man.
I saw that because everybody was talking about how they looked alike.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, when did Noah turn into Benoit? This is like freaking me out.
Are you sure Benoit lost? Like, maybe it was the other one.
Yeah, maybe he stole his mojo or something. Maybe that's what happened. And that's what I love this picture in here. Only Benoit would be like laughing during his injury timeouts. I am losing my match, but this is hilarious, isn't it? So, yeah, that was. I don't know what was up with Benoit. I think his forearm was bothering him, and Noah played really great, but it was kind of like that's in that Djokovic section where I said there was no one, and I'm like, our shot is probably like Benoit. And it's like, oh look, Benoit's gone. So, and then of course we just talked about Rafa went out to Nando. Kevin Anderson retired to Rajiv Ram,
Yeah.
and it was good for Americans.
Yeah.
We're having a good time with all these upsets. Except for Jack, who lost to Rasal in the second round,
Oh.
which was heartbreaking. And Jack's previous match was somebody said it's like he played well and then he like rolled his ankle and then could barely move. He got bageled and then he played brilliantly and won the match. So it's like Jack's had an injury. He was sick in the previous. He had to pull out of the final in the previous tournament. So he needs to go home and rest and
Poor Jack.
yeah, recuperate. This has not been a good start to the year for him, which is a shame because his playing level has been high. So hopefully he can get his body and health back together. For the women, I actually forgot about Venus. There were so many people the first time I wrote these down. I missed Venus, and then I read some other article, and they're like, Venus Williams went out in the front. I was like, oh my god, I forgot. She went out to Joe Conta, who is a British player, and it made me laugh because there were some British people on my timeline who were like, we watch these Conta matches now, and we're expecting her to win. That's like a weird feeling for British people. We don't know what to do. We have a player to cheer for. Schmidlova, who was the 27th seed, she lost to Kashatkina. Irani lost to Gasparin. Wozniacki lost to Putentseva, who everyone fondly refers to as Poots. She's a little fireball player.
I wondered who that was because I kept seeing that all over my timeline, and I was like, this just sounds weird.
She's kind of like a Benoit Fabio type on the women's side. So she's a little feisty thing. She's, has a lot of emotions and stuff. She's got a big game for a small person. And Wozniacki is still like not 100% fit either. So that was like a shame because of course I love Wozniacki, but it's like I don't think she was fully there. But Poots played a great match. Bondarenko, who is now a mother, took out Kuznetsova, which Kuznetsova was a seed, but I was thinking, people are saying it's not that much of a surprise. It turns out she hasn't gotten past the second round in a slam in a while.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those players that's just not lucky in slams. Which, speaking of which, Stozer, of course, went out in the first round because it's Australia. She lost to, I hate to say this, but she lost to the lesser Pliskova. As there's the two sisters, and Carolina is the one that we see most of the time, but she lost to Christina, who went another round too. So it's just been a good tournament for her. Lauren Davis, another American, beat Pavlyuchenkova. But then Stevens lost to Wang. Petkovic lost to Kalichkova. Kvitova lost to Gavrilova, which I believe you will be talking about later.
Yes, I will.
And I tried to find these interesting pictures. Like Kvitova is just like, I want to be somewhere else. And I chose the Nando one where he's like, I can't believe I'm winning.
I love that picture. He looks so cute.
I know.
He kind of looks like a little boy who just stole candy.
Yes.
Oh, bad. I don't know why I did a slight Indian accent there. That was weird. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth or how it's going to sound.
Exactly. Kind of like Tomic. He has a different accent every time he gives a press conference. Which we'll talk about him later, too.
Yeah, we will.
So, Jelena went out to Sigemund, who we'll see later in the podcast as well. It was a German player who played this unbelievable match. And I said to my timeline, I said, why is this girl playing in like futures and stuff if she plays like this? And the people on my timeline said, because she doesn't play like this. So it was one of those things where she just came out and just totally went for it. And Jelena has a knack now where it's kind of like if things start to go poorly, she has a hard time coming back from that. She starts yelling at her brother and starts lamenting, and it's kind of hilarious to watch, but then you're upset
I
that she can't turn it around.
It's funny because I was watching her match and the commentators were like, "Would you yell at your brother that way?" And they're all like, "No." And I'm thinking, "Really? I'm an only child, but like I don't know that a lot of siblings get along all the time."
No, exactly.
So
And
I'm like, I don't know what their surprise was. They were like, "Would you talk to your brother that way?" Absolutely not. I'm like,
yeah.
"It's your brother, not your mother."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, most of the time, if they talk to him about it, he just laughs because it's kind of like the Murray thing. She's just venting, she's, calls him terrible names and blames everything on him, but it's like she doesn't mean it. It's like she doesn't go punch him out after the match. It's just
That would be a hoot. I would love to see that.
just boom, just lays him out.
That'd be amazing.
So on, we still have more to this list. But Bachitsky lost to Beck, another German. Svitolina lost to Naomi Osaka. Muguruza had a really bizarre match. She went out to Streetsova. That was a little more recent, and there was some talk of maybe an injury or something. She was just completely flat, and it was like sad to watch because she's such a big hitter, and people are hoping for big things for her, and then she comes out and Streetsova was playing a good match, but not, you expected Muguruza to do something, and she really didn't. So that was kind of a shame. Lisicki went out to Ellertova. It's like all these names are like for people who don't die hard follow WTA. You're like,
No,
who?
I have no idea who the hell you're talking about.
I
They
know,
all sound like the same ass person.
I
Like,
know.
just
They
like,
all have Russian names. They're like all Ovas.
yeah. And like you're talking, and I'm just like, oh, wow. Like, I have no idea who the hell you're talking about.
I know. So, and then Hollop went out. That was the big thing, and
I do like her a lot.
yeah, a lot of people do, but I've never been sold on, they're like, Hollop's gonna be the next big thing, and it's like she does have this tendency of she plays really well, and then she'll have some inexplicable performance where someone just completely hits her off the court, and you're like, is she hurt? Is there something wrong with her? And it's just she just got beat, and then the next match, then she'll play well. So she might actually have injuries too. It's like all the women are always like held together with tape and prayers. So
Sarah, I really love that. That was good.
but the funny thing was that she was beaten by Zhang Shui, which I hope I'm saying her name correctly or close to correctly. And this was a player who she was a qualifier for one thing, and she's still in it. She was previously 0-14 in slams. She was considering giving up tennis and taking up firming. And she had a good challenger tournament, and she went, you know what? I'm going to have a last go at it. And she went into qualifying for the Australian Open. And she invited her parents to come see her play when she got the match against Hollop, because she was like, I'll be on a big court. My parents will finally get to see what I've been doing for 20 years, and it'll be, my last hurrah kind of a thing. And then she won. And then she took out Alize Cornet, and then she just took out Lipchenko. So she's still in it. So that's one of those awesome stories. It's like
Yeah,
sometimes
it is.
upsets are like fluky things and it sucks and it screws up the whole draw, but this one's pretty. It's nice to see somebody get like a second chance at, you know, doing something awesome, and her parents were there.
Is she gonna stick with tennis now?
It seems like it.
Or is she gonna be like, well, I had a good run, off to my cows? Like, what is she?
I'll be like Panetta. I'll just retire on a high note.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wonder if she's gonna stick with it now.
Yeah, I don't think she's
That
28, so she still could have a couple more good years.
yeah.
This might inspire her. She'll probably judge by, how well she does here and then what happens in the next couple tournaments. But
Mhm.
sometimes that's all it takes, is some kind of big couple matches and you turn it around. I mean, she's somebody who did an upset and then won the next match too against a very good player. So, she didn't follow that usual rule of, and she went out in the next round.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people are pretty excited about her story. So hopefully she can maybe get a few more years out of tennis because it seems like she wants to. It was like she was very upset that I believe she got into the top 30 at one point and then her results just started to fall off and she said she just wasn't even liking playing anymore. And so this will probably change
Yeah.
how she feels about it. So um we had all these big upsets, and but for the men there's only one unseeded player in the round of 16, so there's still a lot of good matchups there. The women have 7 unseeded players, but you still have Sharapova, Serena, Vika, Aga, Bencic, Kerber. So I mean, there's still a lot going on over there too. And then you've got some new people. That was kind of Courtney, who writes for the WTA, was saying that people complain about the younger players aren't doing anything and they never win any matches, and then when the younger players now upset the older players, everyone's pissed off. It's
Yeah.
like you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'll
Everybody's gonna
be,
be pissed about everything though.
well, yeah, that's welcome to social media and fandom. And but yeah, Nole, who had like the most cupcake draw on earth, except for maybe Serena. He's got Simone next, and then either Nishikori or Sangha. So he's finally got some people that he might actually have to make an effort
Yeah.
to play. So that's kind of my big roundup of
Big roundup. It
catastrophe.
was a big roundup.
I know.
A lot of names. A lot of names I don't remember.
I know. It's just it's crazy. It's like I felt so bad. I'm like I watched men's tennis more, but the women seem to be more evenly matched, and so the draws and stuff are constantly cycling the rankings and everything. Radvanska was actually quoted as saying that you have to prepare for the player, not the ranking. She's like, the
Yeah.
rankings don't mean as much in women's tennis because they're constantly shifting. Somebody has one good tournament and then suddenly they're ranked number 10, and the rest of the year they weren't winning anything. It's kind of happening in men's tennis now because Nole has all the points.
Yeah.
So it's like when there's only like 200 points to divide between everybody else, so it's like somebody wins one small tournament and they move up like 100 spots. So it's sometimes ranking isn't always indicative of people's talent.
Yeah.
So we can move on to the next drama.
This is gonna be a fun topic.
with this great ad that came up,
Yeah.
we were
Yeah, this ad came up and freaked us. Like, it's kind of morbid and weird, and
yes,
but it makes our podcast colorful.
yeah,
You
exactly.
never
Always.
know what's gonna pop up, even a dead guy.
Oh no. And I've noticed it this time because sometimes we put up tweets from people and I don't pay attention to what their background is on their profile, and like sometimes people have really weird backgrounds.
I know.
It's like I go back and watch the webcast and it's like, oh my god.
I know. Shelby texted me going, "Why did we use this? We need to pay attention."
I know.
I'm like, "I'm sorry."
So the Australian Open was really thrilled about. This was the big story that broke right at the start of the tournament. Was BBC and BuzzFeed, of all things,
Yeah.
put out this report that a lot of the betting companies and interested parties had put together a list of players that were involved in match fixing, and that the ATP and ITF and all of that never investigated it, never followed it up, and that 8 of those players were still going to be playing in the Australian Open this year and had never received any sanctions or punishments. And they said, including Grand Slam singles and doubles winners. But they didn't name any names. And so everyone freaked out and started going, it has to be, I mean, especially on the men's side. Well, the women's actually too. It's like there's a limited amount of slam winners in recent years. So it's like, are you kidding me? Is Federer match fixing? Is Murray? So there was like a lot of things like blew up about this, but then slowly more information started trickling in. And this was, they were talking about something that happened in 2007. And what it is a lot of the betting companies flag suspicious betting, like somebody who obviously should win a match, suddenly all the odds are against them. And then that person suddenly has an injury in the third set and loses the match or whatever. And then all these people make tons of money on it. So they kind of flag sometimes these suspicious betting that goes against what you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when they give you a list of names, it doesn't necessarily mean any of those people are guilty. Sometimes it may be somebody in the locker room tipped off, betters that, hey, this person's getting his ankle wrapped up. He's probably injured. He might not win, that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's sort of a thing that's very hard to prove. And then there was this other wonderfully interesting thing that when this big thing, there was a Davydenko match that was like made a lot of news in 2007 about
Mm-hmm.
match fixing. And so they created this tennis integrity unit and they gave them more powers and they were going to be investigating stuff. And then they got advice from lawyers that told them, well, because you just created this charter and had everybody agree to it and everything in 2008, you can't investigate anything retroactively. So those 16 players that had been flagged for, being repeatedly involved in suspicious matches, it was just like, oh, well, we can't do anything about it. So it's like, we invented this organization to deal with this, and then we decided not to do anything about it. So they talked to a lot of the top players, and a lot of the top players were like, give us some names, give us some more information, because how can we comment on this when we don't know if it's true? It's just like blind accusations,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing you can look at.
Yeah.
And then the ATP and everybody came out and gave these statements that were just like, oh, this is outrageous. We investigate everything. We take everything seriously. We're awesome. There's nothing going on here. There might be match fixing, but it goes on at very low levels. It's not common. It's a blah, blah, blah. And it was just such a generic, corporate response that made them seem suspicious, which is possibly not the case. But if they had said something like, yes, we know this is a serious problem. We did investigate 11 players this year and blah, blah, blah. They didn't say anything like that. It was just like, oh no, that doesn't happen here. Oh, and it's like, you don't know who to believe. It's like maybe somewhere in the middle is the truth, because this initial thing was accusing them of just putting all this stuff under the rug. So,
Yeah. And also, didn't Novak come out and say that he was offered like 200,000 to take a match?
yes.
And I mean, not recently, but I think it was like
No.
in '07 or something.
Yes.
But it's
Yes.
just saying like, oh, this doesn't happen. And then you even have players coming out saying, well, it does, regardless of if players are involved or not, it's still around.
Yes.
And I'm sure if players are getting offered, someone's going to take that money, especially if they don't make a lot.
Right. Right. That was what this conversation started to go into, was that when you're on the Challenger Tour and you're going to make like $50 to win the tournament and someone offers you 50 grand just to drop a couple games in the first set, because sometimes they do in match betting, so they'll bet on
Mm-hmm.
individual scores and stuff, so all these people have to do is throw a couple games and they make 50 grand. Well, that's hard for, if it's a difference between eating or
Yeah.
continuing your career or whatever, that's hard to resist. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that's what Federer said, and when he was asked about it, was he said he'd like to see more education of, teenagers and stuff. He says they don't usually go to like the ATP academy until they're like 24, and by then, they may have been approached 20 times already about stuff. He's like, he'd like them to educate these kids sooner about why you shouldn't do this and how it screws up the sport and, that kind of stuff. It's like, because it can be very tempting. And I mean, that's the other thing too, is when you think about other sports, like if you're on a team sport, you get a salary, they pay for transportation and all that kind of stuff. It's like a whole organization. Tennis players are independent contractors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're on commission. If you don't win, you don't make any money, but you're shelling out like $100,000 a year on coaches and travel and all that stuff, and then you make 11,000. That's not sustainable. And I know Andy Roddick was taking questions on Twitter from a lot of people about this, giving his opinion, and he agreed with someone who said you can't also just say that a lot of people are just corrupt or whatever, tennis players that throw matches, because a lot of it is like crime syndicates are running this stuff and they threaten people.
Mm-hmm.
So, let a few games go or we're going to hurt your family or something. Well, what are most people going to do? So they said that players really need to feel more protected, more supported, financially, and protection from these people being approached, because they said too, like at challenger tournaments and stuff, there's no like security or people watching anything, or players are just right there.
Yeah, no, not at all. We've talked about challengers and how you're all just mixed in.
Right.
There's no, you know, players over here, fans over here.
Right. And that's what some of the players said, was that they were, they get handed an envelope of cash while they're just standing there. And before you even know what's going on, you're like involved in this transaction.
That's awful for somebody like me who has anxiety issues. And you know what I mean? So it's just kind of an awkward social interaction where you're just like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten into unmarked cabs at airports because a guy just kind of like basically like catered me in, and I was just like, okay, because I didn't want to say no, which is not a
Right.
good thing. I don't recommend
Yeah,
people do it.
exactly. I
But
totally understand
I've
that.
had those moments where that moment of weakness where you just kind of feel awkward and you don't know what to do.
Right. And I said, when you're dealing with teenagers and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and they're away from home, and these kind of things can happen. So the good thing about this is, even if it doesn't like immediately solve something or immediately find out who these people are, it maybe might get the conversation going on changing some of the environments and everything, because they said tennis is just like ripe for match fixing, because it's like you only need one guy to
Mm-hmm.
to throw the match. It's like, it's like football or something, you have to get quite a few people to agree to throw a
Yeah.
game, because there's so many people involved. So this, it could kind of cast a little bit of a cloud over Australian Open. But when more information came out, and it was kind of like, this is old news, and you know people aren't necessarily guilty even if they're on this list, it's kind of cooled down a little bit. But hopefully it won't just go away completely, like, oh, that never happened.
Yeah.
So I think they said that someone from the All England Club was wanting to start another integrity unit that has more power and can actually do
the,
something.
the BBC version?
Yeah, exactly. The
Today on BBC, the Tennis Integrity Unit. Dun dun dun.
the integrity unit to investigate the
Well,
integrity unit who is
you
investigating the other.
the British version is going to be way better than the American version.
That is true. They'll have less meetings, but they'll be more meaningful.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my god. So that's our update on that.
And next we have Lleyton Hewitt, who uh, this is his last Australian Open. And
Yes.
after his last match, all his kids came out on court and also in his press room.
Yeah, I
Uh,
thought that was cool. They had the picture of them all sitting at the desk with him.
yeah, so that's always cool when they bring their families out and stuff. Um, and what I thought was really interesting was the player response after he retired. And I mean, every player with a Twitter was sharing well wishes to him and saying how he's a friend of the tour and everything. So I thought the response was really interesting because it was just everybody.
Yes.
And I know you had some feelings on Hewitt that I'm very curious to know.
Well, I'll start with two things about the when he retirement. David Ferrer was who he was playing against, and David is normally very soft spoken. He doesn't have a lot of English, so he usually is very quiet in interviews, doesn't say a lot. And he got interviewed after the match by Jim Courier, and he said some really sweet things. And he was saying he usually didn't really have idols growing up, but Hewitt was one of them. And then he kind of got all excited because like he suddenly remembered something, and he said that he has a museum in his house of like sports memorabilia, and the only tennis shirt he has is Hewitt. He
Aw.
signed a shirt for him, and he said it's the only tennis player he has one from because that's he was that important to him. So I thought that that was really cool. And the other thing was um, they recorded the players. They showed a video during the ceremony, and they recorded the players giving their well wishes and talking about how Hewitt inspired them and everything. And they left Noles out.
Yeah, I heard about that. That they cut Novak.
Yes.
That's weird.
They said it was a mistake. They said he recorded his on a different day. And so they had like several different versions of the piece put together. And then when they chose the final one, they had accidentally left him out. And so, but I'm like, Nole is just, they spell his name wrong on the
Oh,
course.
yeah.
They
Poor
leave his
Novak.
tribute out. It's like, this guy is just
Like, no matter how well he plays, he'll
yeah,
still get shitty things happen to him.
I know, he still gets screwed.
He does.
So, yeah, the one thing I wanted to say about Hewitt, is just something I've noticed that he's brought his family a lot in the matches he's been doing this year as kind of like his final tour. Um, and I'm hoping that his daughters are not interested in tennis, that it's just a personal choice. Because otherwise it drives me crazy that he's always got his son on court playing tennis, and you can see he's got the matching outfit on here, and everybody talks about, oh, he looks just like his dad and he plays tennis just like him. And it's kind of this thing to me like, oh, girls, we don't care about them, they're not going to be great tennis players, so we're just not even going to bother. So it was like every time I see this, it like makes me mad. It's like, oh, let's just only talk about his son, the future tennis star. So, but I said maybe the daughters just maybe it isn't their thing because kids aren't always interested in the same thing you are. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that that's the case, and it's not just, oh, you're girls, so we're not
Yeah.
even going to bother.
Yeah, I totally get that because being a fan of bull riding, the boys are taught to do the bull riding and the bronc riding, and the girls are encouraged to do like barrel racing with the horses and stuff
Right.
that's not dangerous. And you'll see the guys bring their kids and all their mini me's. They have all the
Yes.
same gear and their rope and I loved it. One of the Brazilian riders who actually retired last year um, has a daughter who bull rides, and I think she's the only one. And I was so happy to see that because I was like, yes, you get it, girl. You destroy them. And I love seeing her because so many you hear so many of the guys discourage women and the young girls from doing it. And I don't know if the girls have any interest in doing it,
Right.
but it was really I loved it. So I totally get your feeling on how we always see kind of the boys,
Yeah.
with the dads on the tennis courts, and you're just like,
Yeah, yeah, and I said especially because it's also just like accepted. Like, there's no commentator that ever says, "Oh, I wonder if the daughters want like playing tennis too," or it's like the only one they actually did ask Roger for a long time, but I'm wondering as his boys get older if maybe they'll only start asking about the boys. So I'm ready to be irritated.
yeah. No, I
I'm
get that.
prepared.
Where you're just like, well, what about them? What are they into? We don't really
Exactly.
hear about them at all.
Right. Right.
And it's funny because I didn't even notice that when you brought it up that I always hear about Cruz and he goes on. Remember, he was on Tennis Channel getting interviewed
Yes.
by Justin Gibbelstaub, and I didn't think about that, how he has daughters and how much they travel with them as well,
Right.
and why, if it's by choice or just how it happens.
Exactly. So that was my little rant about.
That's
I'm
interesting.
sending Lleyton off with some criticism.
Why don't you pay attention to your daughters?
That's right.
But no, I get what you mean though about it. Just even society's perception of it, of just, we tend to see their mini me's and not
Right.
all of them.
Right.
So I get that. I
So
get what you're saying.
what's next?
Night session potpourri.
Potpourri. I still like
Smells like tennis.
smells like tennis. I think we need the potpourri to help with the smell of tennis.
I don't know what you're talking about. Tennis smells terrific.
I do like sweaty men, I must confess.
Yeah. I
So
think that's a good segue
it's a good
to
segue to
the
sweaty men.
close on the
Yeah.
US Open. The US Open. I keep doing it.
You said you were gonna do that.
I keep calling the Australian Open US Open. I have no idea why.
Well, they did make the courts faster this year, and they said that it's more like the U.S. Open. So
Yeah, we're gonna say it's that.
exactly, we're gonna go with that. We're gonna give a Tennessee reason.
Oh, all right, take it away.
So I wanted to talk about the really craptastic Nike fashion. Um, I have lots of things to say about it. um, One of the things is kind of on this, you can't tell exactly from the selection because you've got Roger and Rafa and Maria and stuff, and they get different outfits. But this red striped shirt that Kuznetsov has, and then some of the other players have versions of, everyone had that on. There were like 100 players with that same exact shirt. And then all the girls have this outfit on that Kvitova has on, the striped with the skirt. And it was like there's all these matches where they're playing each other and they have the same freaking shirt on, the same outfit. And it's like, really, you couldn't even make another color of the same shirt. So that was
No. I
that.
always get tired when you see this. They play each other and it's just the same thing.
Yes. And it's like it's like if I saw my opponent had the same shirt on, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I gotta go change. I'm gonna play with my jacket on. I'm just because it's like, how bad is it to lose a match and go up to shake hands and the person has the same outfit on as you? I don't know. It's for some reason it's just like some extra little thing. Like, it's embarrassing.
I don't know if I'd feel that, but I just hate when watching it, and then sometimes you forget who's who for a second.
Oh,
Because
sure, if
like when
if
they move,
they're
and they're moving, and sometimes if they have the same kind of hairstyle or whatever, and you're just like, who's that? Oh,
yes. Yeah, the girls will both have the same visor on, and the
yeah.
guys have, dark hair, or they'll have a hat on, and you're like, oh my god, I can't remember which side he's on.
Yeah, and then you're like, "Yay! Oh crap, that was an opponent."
Yes, that's always so embarrassing. You're like, great shot, and then they do a close up, and you're like, oh shit, wrong guy.
Wrong one. So yeah, I feel more embarrassed as a fan than I think I would as a player.
I
'Cause
probably, a
I'm
lot of them don't care,
no, I
but it
think they don't give a crap.
it it, it does annoy me. And then that really wasn't the worst of it. Kvitova's outfit wasn't bad. The skirt's a little see through, but they seemed like, because Australia is usually 150 degrees,
Yeah.
they were trying to make stuff a little more lightweight. The Kyrgios and Dimitrov wearing the tank tops got so much like furor on Twitter. It was unbelievable.
That's weird to me because I think Curious looks fine.
Kyrgios is got a little slighter build, and so he wore an undershirt under it. Because the thing about it is it is cut. The armholes are cut pretty big,
Yeah.
which I think is what maybe part of the problem people had with it. Because like Monfils always wore the sleeveless, and they were that real tight cut. It looks a little bit more classy, I guess you could say. But they were talking about Grigor's too skinny and this and that. I'm like, I look at his arm. I'm like, he's got
Federer's
nice.
not too skinny. I just think he just looks like such a white boy that I think sometimes it just looks funny.
Yeah, I think it's probably too, the top is like vented and stuff.
Yeah,
So
like that mesh. Like he kind of looks like he's going to a club, like a gay club, and like It's just that mesh, and you just expect him to start dancing and like party boy type thing. Yeah, I think the cut is a little weird, but I think if it was just normal, I don't know. I think Kyrgios looks good. I think Gregor just looks like a gay white boy. I really do.
Yeah, see, I didn't.
Which isn't a bad thing, by the way.
Exactly. I don't
It's
know.
not a bad thing to look like a gay white boy. But I just think in his case, he's not like trying to look like that.
Yeah, that's not his goal.
No.
Yeah, but I guess I'm thinking he probably went on Twitter after the first day because then he's been wearing the short sleeve shirt after that first day. So he ditched the tank top. Kyrgios continued wearing his. But yeah, Serena had the half shirt, which I also hated.
Crop top.
Yeah, it's just like it's the same thing. It's like you're going to a club or you're playing tennis. And
I love crop tops, so I don't mind that it's a crop top. I just don't like the color. I don't like the color yellow.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of yellow this year too. Everything was like yellow and orange.
Yeah, I'm not that into yellow.
But and the other thing is too is like a lot of times these outfits don't look so bad when you're just standing there.
Yeah, but
But
when
you're
you're
playing
it's weird.
tennis. Serena usually seems to wear like a regular bra underneath. So then she was serving and this shirt went all the way up and then you saw her actual bra and it's like this is just not this is not good. This is why you don't wear crop tops playing tennis. I don't know.
Yeah, true. I've never really thought about that because I
Yeah.
love crop tops, like the look of them, but I never like I never really thought athletically.
Yeah, it's like
But then
it's
there are some football players that have the crop tops.
which is also stupid.
Which I didn't understand because I don't really watch football, but sometimes I'll watch Ohio State because I'm from Ohio, and I remember I was talking to a guy friend, and I go, "Why do some of them have crop tops?" Because I didn't understand. It just looked funny, and I go, "Why is it some of them do and then others don't?"
Yeah.
You gotta explain it to me. I go, "Okay,
Okay.
it's weird."
Yeah, and then Jeannie's was probably the absolute worst. It looked like she borrowed Curios's shirt and put it on for one thing.
Oh, that does.
It looked like a nightgown because it's like totally sheer.
I was gonna say it looked like pajamas.
Yeah, totally sheer with like no hem. I mean, it's like this cheap ass thing, and they were selling it for $80.
Jesus.
And she wore it with the white, like booty shorts that you would wear under a skirt, without any underpants underneath them.
Oh
And
no.
so all the pictures from this match are really revealing
Oh no.
because this tunic thing, it was like up around her armpits the whole time she was playing. And then she
Yeah.
had what looked on white underpants, that looked like that was all she was wearing. So it was
Well,
like,
I mean, I did say before we started recording, I said that I'm anti two things. I am anti pants and anti adulthood. So
yeah,
maybe she is in the anti pants
there you
thing
go.
where it does look like a nightgown and stuff with like little undies.
Yeah, it was it's just like stupid looking. And also too, even just for practicality, when you're playing tennis, do you want your whole dress bunched up under your arms? It's just
Yeah.
like I said, I think they were trying to go for, oh, it's going to be hot, so we're trying to give the players stuff that's super ventilated and everything, and they just end up everybody's like half naked, and then it ended up not being that hot. So it's like, so then they were all freezing in the night matches because it was like 55 degrees out.
Yeah.
So that was, and Vika got the shorts this year, which I'm not a fan of shorts either, but they made them cuter this time, so they actually don't just look like she went out in her practice shorts kind of thing. And she got a different color at least. It wasn't the same freaking red. And Rogers and Rafa's were cute. I forgot that I
Yeah.
picked these pictures because their shorts were a little tight in certain areas.
Yeah, you're real surprised. I do like Rafa's. Like I said, I don't like yellow, but his is like a softer yellow, and it's not the
Yes,
whole thing, so it's not like yellow.
right,
It's just like yellow,
right. Yeah, yellow. And, and
yellow.
and then Maria got this little kind of peach dress thing, which is fine, but it's hard for her because she's so tall. a lot of times just don't seem to be sitting in the right spot on her. It's like the waist seems like it's too high or something. So
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? I
yeah,
wouldn't have noticed that had you not pointed that out.
yeah, it's kind of like she's got somebody else's dress on.
That is funny. The bottom doesn't match with the top, and it just looks like it's at a weird place.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
funny. I wouldn't have noticed that.
yeah. So
Huh.
so Nike, you suck pretty
That's
much. That's
bothering me now.
I know,
I
right?
want to pull it down,
Yes.
and you can't. It's just like that. That's weird.
Yeah. So
Valerie makes me realize so many things that I would never notice on my own.
all the nitpicking. So
Yeah.
that we can go on. There's one more fashion thing. Stan.
Everybody hates this.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
I like it. It reminds me of sherbet.
Exactly. Yes. People said sorbet. I call them a dreamsicle. It's just really cute. And I said I have like 5 shirts this color that I wore to Cincy last year. So it's like it wasn't anything to me. It's like when he came out, I'm like, ooh, that's a little bright. But people were like, it was like he came out like naked or wearing a clown suit or something. It was just like it was insane to me how much people went crazy over this. And it's like it's just a bright color. It's not anything. I mean, the colors match. Monfils is out on court where I said he always chooses the separates that match the least. He's always got like 3 different prints going on and they're like at different angles and stuff. It's just like, okay, you be you, man.
You be you.
You be you. But this thing with Stan, but it was really cute because Jim Courier interviewed Stan after his last match and asked him about the clothes. And the first thing that Stan said was, he noticed there were 2 guys in the crowd that had the plaid shorts on from the French Open. And he was like, good job, guys.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. And Jim said, do you have any say in this? Because everyone always assumes that they do, like this is them picking it. And Stan has always said he has the plaid shorts, especially. He said, they just send it to me and I have to wear it. I don't have any say. And then this one, he said, after I win the French Open, they ask a little bit which colors I prefer. And Jim goes, "You've got clout now." But about this one, he said, "This one's quite flashy, but at least everybody can see me in the stadium."
Yeah, no, he won't get hit by a car in that.
I know. And it was so cute. He said everyone could see me in the stadium. The whole place went up. So that they approved. I mean, it does make a statement when he walks out on court. And I
Yeah,
think
I mean, it is very bright.
yeah, but they said if you go to a day match and saw it in the sunlight, they said it's really not that bright. It's like when you see it on TV or they had the big night lights on and stuff, it gets that more of like a glow. And they said in person, it's really not quite as bright as it seems, but I still think it's fun. I like it better than when everybody's just got black and white on, and
Yeah.
I like the fun stuff.
I thought it was pretty. Like
Yeah.
it really does like look like ice cream. Like it really
Yes.
does. Like I want sherbet now.
Yes. I want to devour Stan. He's so tasty.
2 scoops. 2 scoops.
So we can move on. Oh, this is this is when you don't know what to do to cover your baldness. This is getting bad for Rafa, and I don't usually talk about him losing his hair because it's horrible, and it's like there's nothing he can do about it. So it doesn't seem fair to like make fun of him over it.
Rogaine.
Yeah.
Or
Well, yeah.
whatever,
Or
all those commercials that I could mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
yes. I could have gotten a weave a while back or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, my thing is this is not working.
Yeah, freaking what's his face? Agassi wore a wig his whole career.
Yes, I don't, either like cut it all off or try to do something. And the hardest part is when he like goes to an event or something, they're able to kind of like hairspray it into something that looks okay. But when you're on the court, he's still doing that thing of smashing it down under his headband, and then it's like his part is like 6 inches wide, and it's just, and I feel terrible because it's like that's what you're looking at, and maybe we shouldn't be so critical and we shouldn't care. But I said when he takes the headband off and this is what his hair looks like, it's hard not to notice.
Yeah.
So maybe he should finally try to go for the super short hair and see how that looks on him, because and actually he looks really cute with a hat. So I kept hoping he would just switch from the headband to the hat, because he looks a lot cuter that way, and then you're not focusing on it, and he's not pulling on his hair so much, which
He
probably
used to
doesn't
wear a
help.
hat.
Yeah,
I don't know
sometimes
about during matches, but I know during practice because I have pictures of him with a hat.
yeah, he'll wear it sometimes in practice, but sometimes I think it's just because, oh, Nike wants me to sell this hat, so I'll wear it during practice. I don't know if he actually likes wearing. Part of the problem is he gets so sweaty, so that hat might not be practical. But I feel bad, but Rafa, this is not working.
a little nesty there.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just expecting one of those Australian birds to perch on his head.
No.
Sorry. Then there was a bird that came on court that could have landed on his head.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
I wish I would have kept that gif. I didn't expect to say that.
Right.
Oh god.
So that's the fashion stuff we can.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go to I fell in love with DASHA GAVRILOVA. Is that how you say her name?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
so.
I was like, I'm so scared to say her name.
I know.
So I watched her match and she won it 6-4, 4-6, 11-9.
Oh goodness.
And it was such a cute match. And I've never seen her play before because I don't watch the women very often. But she was very cute. She was very energetic. And she, she's very emotional. And she's pumped up. And there was one moment where her opponent double faulted. So I think she got the break. And the crowd went crazy. But she put her finger to her lips to shush the crowd not to cheer her fault.
Oh.
And I thought that was cute. But she was really just feisty, and she was really, every point she was just so many emotions. She would miss a shot and fall to her knees and be like, no. Very dramatic, and it was very cute. And she ended up winning the match. And Renee Stubbs, she goes to do the interview, and I don't know what she was doing. She was kind of far away from Renee, and Renee goes, come here, come closer. And so she goes, and they ask her how she felt, and she said she wanted to hug the whole stadium and go around, and she was so happy. And they said, you were down in the match, and how did you come back from that, or something along those lines. And she goes, I don't know. And she thought for a while, and she goes, I'm good from behind. And then immediately put her hand to her face, like as you see here, because she realized what came out of her mouth instantly, and she looked horrified. And then she started to laugh, and then she starts to walk away, like, oh God, what did I just say? And she starts to walk away. And of course, Renee is still interviewing her.
Yeah.
So Renee's going, no, come back. You're still young. It's okay. We won't go there. We won't go there. And so, but she just looked horrified. Everybody started laughing, and she's just like, "Oh my god!" and it was funny because everybody on Twitter kind of said, "Well, Dasha, if you didn't react, we might not have caught it." Because she said, "I'm good at coming back from being down, and I'm good from behind," and she just. And I instantly fell in love with her. I mean, I fell in love with her before, but after that, I go, we need her on the night session.
Yes.
We need her to come up here and do this with us because she's so cute. But I just love how she just had that horrified, because we've all had that reaction. Well, at least I have on this webcast where I have said something and instantly went, oh no.
Yes. She actually did an awesome thing on Twitter a little while back where she put up a Vine video of her pronouncing her name in all the different accents of commentators who have screwed up her name. and it was absolutely hilarious because she did the Brits with the Daria Gavrilova, and then Italian. She did the sing-songy, and it was hilarious. And she eventually took it down, probably because someone got offended somewhere. But it's like whenever I see her, that's what I think of, the Daria Gavrilova.
Oh, that's funny. I would have loved to see that. I love that. She seems to have a good sense of humor, but I
Yeah.
just love how she goes, I'm good from behind. Oh God. Oh God. I just said that to everybody. Like, it was just amazing.
She's
And
like Felicity on Arrow, if you ever watch that,
I
Felicity.
don't. I want
She's
to, but I know what it is, but I didn't.
Yeah, there's a character on there that she's, this smart computer expert girl, and she's, real perky, like, and she says stuff like that completely innocently and then goes, "Oh my God." And then just digs herself deeper and deeper into these, the abyss of saying the wrong thing.
But I just love her reaction of like, like instantly, right when she said it.
Yes.
Because they don't show her. They turn to these guys when she actually says it.
Right.
So you don't see her say it, and then you just see her go, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that." And then Renee's going, "You're young. It's fine. Just come here. We're not going to go there." Like, like I couldn't interview her because I would burst out laughing. Like, I
Yeah,
would
no
have been like,
kidding.
"Oh my gosh, I love you. Do you want to hang
Oh.
out sometime?" Like,
We've got
which would have probably
podcast.
come out really bad,
Yeah.
on my part. But I'm serious. She's so lovely. I love her. So anytime I see her play, I'm definitely gonna watch her now.
Oh, absolutely. Still
I
your
love
new
her.
fan.
She's cute. And I found this. Okay. So all this week has been about, the match fixing and almost every site you see the match fixing stuff.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm going through Daily Mail, and all of a sudden, it's a picture of Troicki, and it's going, he ate spinach with the right side of his mouth only. And I go, what? And I look, and it's an article about how Troicki's right arm is much bigger than his left arm. And I just thought, well, this is a weird article. And I just started reading it, and it was really funny. And it says, they say you should never skip leg day at the gym. So maybe someone needs to remind Viktor Troicki that left arm day is important too. It's
Oh
just
my gosh.
ridiculous. I just thought, this is funny. And it's just weird. Like, everything was so dramatic about match fixing, and then all of a sudden, Troicki with his left arm.
I know all the Federer fans on my timeline were laughing about this because they didn't mention Federer, and he's like that. It's like a famous part of him amongst Fed fans is his left arm is microscopic. It's like scary small. It's like if you ever take the time to look at it, it's like, oh my God. And it's the guys who have the one-handed backhand. It's like they're not using their left arm, so it's never going to be the same. Just because even if they work out both sides, the whole time they're playing tennis is with just the one arm. So Stan's got it too, but Roger is kind of known for. He even did one of those Jim Courier interviews in Australia. That's one of the best ones where Courier was talking about something about, I don't even remember, like wearing the sleeveless shirt or showing off your muscles or whatever. And Roger was like, yeah, everyone's scared when they see my muscles, especially my left arm. That that really strikes terror.
Yeah, and like in the article it says, all tennis players, their more dominant arm is bigger, but they said like Troicki was more drastic. But I just thought this was so funny. And I don't think this is an old conversation. This is or a new conversation. It's
Right.
been around for so long. But I just thought it was so funny just scrolling through the news.
I know, because
Like,
that's
it's you read such dramatic things and like someone murdered a baby and then there's
oh
Troicki.
no.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yes.
just in a mix of all this other news.
Yes.
And I just thought that's random.
I know, because that's when you first put this tab up. When we do our run through, we go through all the tabs and make sure we have everything in order. And she just kind of flashed this one by, and I went, he ate spinach. Wait, what?
Because that's the headline. And image with the right side of his mouth only.
I know.
Bizarre photo shows how much bigger Serbian tennis star Viktor Troicki's right arm is compared to his left. And I go, what is happening right now?
He's a mutant.
Yeah, everything just seemed really weird, and it just caught my eye, and I was just like, we have to include this because this is backcrap crazy. Like, this is so weird.
Oh,
That
that's
is
funny.
weird. Life's weird. All right, we'll move on to.
Oh, yeah, this cute friendship thing. This was Kalichkova and Kashatkina, who were two of the people that caused the upsets in the first round. Um, they were talking about their friendship as Fed fan and Rafa fan, and Kalichkova was talking about she was very angry at me when I was talking about the match because I'm not a fan of Rafa and I was supporting Verdasco. So I kind of had some fun, to be honest, and she wasn't happy about it. It was pretty tough for her, but for us, it's not a big deal. We're not so alike in terms of liking the same things. We might have three things in common and everything else is different, but we're still best friends. So if someone says friendship in women's tennis doesn't exist, it's a lie. You can see we're the proof.
I love that they have like super hardcore fights over
Yes,
Rafa and Verdasco.
yes. I'm like, oh, it's just like my timeline. um, I thought that this was a cute story, and then on top of it was when she said, friendship doesn't exist in women's tennis, and I had something that happened earlier in the week about I talked about one of the women's matches where the handshake wasn't that warm, and someone retweeted it with, oh, that's the way women's tennis is. They all secretly hate each other. And the person who tweeted it said, well, I'm just half joking, but really it seems to be more that way. And I found this so irritating because this seems to be something they do with women's tennis, that there's like 50 matches and they'll pick one out where the women were, not happy with each other and it's kind of a cool handshake. And then they go, see, all the women are backstabbing Caddy, And then you watch all the other matches and they're like hugging and kissing at net. And that was actually the pictures that I had at the beginning about the upsets. Wozniacki and Jelena having these really nice handshakes with the people that took them out of the tournament early. So it's like if there was going to be a time where you were going to be pissy, that would be it. And they were, Jelena's like smiling and hers like, congratulations, great match kind of a thing. So this was something I'm like, you can see that even the players are aware of it, that they just have this reputation that all the women are just all hate each other and the men are all great friends, like with Rasal and
Yeah.
Fabio. And, I mean, look at our awards ceremony that we did at the end of last year. We did Best Feud and we couldn't come up with one for the women, but we had like 20 of them for the guys.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not exactly sure where this perception it's like another one of those societal things where, oh, women are catty and don't get along and are, competitive in evil ways. So
I hate you, Valerie.
I know. I like totally hate you. Secretly.
Hate
I'm gonna say all kinds of stuff about you when this podcast is over.
I believe it. That's the kind of person you are. Sorry. Anyway.
So that was my little rant. And a little peek into our relationship. Never mind. So we can go on to the next
closed doors.
Yeah.
Oh, so I thought this was really funny. I came across this on my timeline, where someone posted this and said, sounds like there was a 12-year-old interviewing Maria. And it starts off, question, how do you decide what to eat? And Maria goes, no laundry questions? You covered that? Thanks for making that a headline on USA Today. Clearly, there were no greater topics at the time. And of course, the person persists. Eating on court, what is that decision process like? Maria, it's pretty basic. I have like an energy bar and I have a gel that I take maybe every 20 to 30 minutes on court. Then a drink, like a sports drink. Keep it pretty much the same through my career. And the person goes, bananas? And she goes, I don't do bananas anymore. Why is that funny? delivery is so dry. So I just
Yes.
imagine her go, "Why is that funny?" And yeah, we talk a lot about bananas on the show.
Yes. Yes. And I can imagine that the whole press room was probably like giggling because just talking about bananas somehow just makes
Yeah.
people.
Like she doesn't do dicks anymore. Gregor ruined her for life. Gregor ruined her off bananas forever.
And I love her. Like she's just not just afraid to say anything. I like that no laundry questions. And thanks for making that the headline. And I was just thinking, obviously she didn't see that Troicki spinach article.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I think we talked about that a little before about the boring questions and press conferences and stuff. And it's like sometimes these questions seem inane, but look at then you get these awesome answers from the player. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's worth asking about leopard print underwear
S-
and
Speaking of that, I was watching Vika's presser, and I just thought this is the dumbest interview I've ever heard. Like, they started asking about how if she notices that there are a lot of families, like kids, players' kids, now at the tournaments, and
okay.
how she feels about that if she notices it. And she goes, they go, "Do you notice more strollers around?" And like she looks confused. She goes, "Well, it's a combined event, so obviously, there's going to be more families around, compared to just women events because, most of us are just playing tennis and don't have families of our own." And they
Right.
go, "But, how do you feel with all the strollers around?" And like they kept pressing it. I don't really know what they wanted.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if that has anything to do with some people were making some kind of big deal about that Mirka Federer had come into one of the press rooms and said, I think we left the strollers in here. So maybe that's what they were trying to get at. Did Vika see Federer's stroller? So like,
Maybe, like, do you see all those strollers around? Does it annoy you? It just seemed like they were trying to get at something that I didn't know what it was, and she
yeah,
didn't know what it was. And it was just like, well, I mean, they're there. It's fine. I thought they were trying to get at the fact. I can't remember what they ended up with, and I wish I could remember because it was really funny. But I thought they were getting at, annoying, that the kids were around and if it was hard to, get ready when all the kids are running around. But
right, right.
they ended up saying something completely the opposite. And I go, what? Why are you even asking this? Like, it just seemed like really odd. And they were
Right.
playing it on TV. And I was just sitting there going, why are you talking about strollers? Like, because they're in the way and you'll trip? Like, where are you going with this? It was just this really weird thing. And like, poor Vika, like, she was going with it. Where I think some people would be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
It just was so random. Oh, and here's another thing. A person asked Vika, can you tell us when do tennis players learn English and what are the first things they learn? Not
Okay.
specific to her. It was,
Just
please
in
tell us how
general.
all non-English tennis players learn English, please. And I go, first of all, this is not her first interview. So it just seems like something that you do when they first start coming up and learning
Right.
about them and stuff. So it seemed kind of random. First the strollers, and it was just a weird interview. And she goes, well, I first started learning English in school. I think a lot of, kids in, those countries, they have it in school, but I but a lot of times, you learn from just watching television and movies and things like that. But it was just weird how they phrased it.
Right.
Like, when did tennis players first start learning English and what are the first things they learn?
Yeah.
And I'm
All,
just like,
all the curse words is what she should have said because
yeah,
that's the truth.
yeah. But I just thought it was weird. Like, why is she speaking for everybody? Why not just ask it personally to her?
Well, I think because I saw that there was an article written about that, so they were probably trying to get as much information as they could out of one person so they didn't have to go to 12 press conferences.
Oh
Like
my
maybe Vika will
god.
say, well, I know so and so learned it at this age or whatever. That might have been.
Let me go through the Rolodex of players. She learned it
Yes.
at 5. She learned it at 7. She learned it at 14. That's a little late. Like, what?
We judge her.
Yeah, it was just really weird. These press conferences sometimes are very random because, and it is because there's people that are mixing questions. So then they
Yes.
come off so random,
Yes.
maybe. But I don't know. I thought that was weird. All right.
Well, anyway,
Speaking of weird, we're going to go to Bernard Tomic. And his presser, they asked, Federer made some comments about you missing out on the top 10 the last couple years. Does that motivate you or bother you? Because, you got to get in, you got to put the nail in them and try
yeah,
and get some drama.
exactly.
And Bernard, yeah, well, he has his predictions. I think he's also far away from Djokovic as well if he wants to say that. If he believes I'm very far away from the top 10, I also believe my prediction that he's nowhere near Djokovic tennis right now. I love it so much. Just because it's like, well, if he wants to talk, I'll talk too.
Right. Yeah, that Roger, this was one of those things where they pulled a quote out of Roger's presser. Someone asked him about, do you think Tomic's going to be top 10 or whatever? And Roger always gives like a really long answer. And he said really nice things about Tomic, that, that he has a good game. He can beat anybody when he wants to. He has a lot of potential. He goes, but we've been hearing this for years now. He's going to be top 10. He's going to be top 10. And he says, and it hasn't happened. He said, because part of the thing is you need to be consistent. You can't just play well at a few tournaments or whatever. And he said, so it remains to be seen if he'll get there. But, he definitely has the skills to be able to do that, but we'll have to see. So it was like actually this kind of very rational answer. It was kind of bold of him to point out that, yeah, you've been saying this for a while and it hasn't happened. But it wasn't quite as antagonistic as they wanted to make it seem. And then now Tomic's all, well, yeah, you're like, not as good as Djokovic, at 34 years of age.
And it's funny because Tomic goes on to say that same thing about how it's about staying there for a while. It's about being consistent.
Right.
And that's what he needs to be. And so they were kind of on the same page, but then they flipped it.
Right.
To make it seem like Federer was just trash talking him. So he's like, well, you're far away from Djokovic. So how about that, old man? Like,
yeah, exactly.
take it. Take it.
You like suck too, man. You only have like 17 slams. Like, what's that?
Like, I'm going to win the Australian Open this year. So joke's on you.
So, and this recalled because he had said a couple of years ago something about, they asked Tomic about playing Federer in the third round or whatever it was, and he said, well, if Roger gets there.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite quotes ever.
Yes. So yeah, that Tomic just keeps things interesting. We have to give him that.
He does. They do egg him on, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He would probably be a little less interesting if the press didn't dig their nails in.
Yeah.
They make him making it.
They're throwing these easy lobs to him,
Yeah.
Crush it, man, crush it.
And he takes that bait, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, he takes that bait. All right. Now we have Insta Goodness, which is always my favorite part. I think Insta Goodness is my favorite part of the show. We're starting with Federer.
This was so awesome.
And Federer cheering on Maria. He's so cute.
I know, and he like bellows on this. It was hilarious. Like, oh no, it was like so funny.
He's so in it.
Yeah, they played the 27 shot rally, and Davis hit these ridiculous shots, and then she completely like just shanked the crucial winning shot. So that was his reaction, like, "Oh my god!" Which is what we were all doing at home. Because during this point, I was going, "Get it, girl, get it!" And then it was like, "Ah!" So to see Roger watching this and doing the same thing, it's like so cool because number one, not only is he watching women's tennis, he's going to play the match after this, which a lot of times people don't watch any tennis before because it's distracting or whatever. He's with Dimitrov, who he's going to be playing in the next match. There's like so many awesome things about this. Then everybody like stands up and stuff.
It was too much. They had to get up. We've all had that moment.
You gotta get up.
We can't. It's funny because I had a boyfriend who I was watching tennis, and I think it was like Andy Murray versus Novak Djokovic at a final in 2008 in Cincy, and he told me like he wanted to like put his arm around me, and like he was trying to be sweet and stuff, and I'm like, no, we can't cuddle now. Like I might accidentally hit you. Like I was so scared because like I don't want to do that like reaction,
Yes.
big, get up and then like elbow him in the face. So I was just like, no, we can't touch now. And then he just went outside and played with my dog until the match was over.
Oh no,
because he's not a tennis fan. But yeah, that relationship didn't work out. But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, and I love this about Roger because he seems so proper and
Yes.
we don't really get to see him just go crazy.
Yes.
And just have that, and I think he has such a big personality that we don't really get to see because he's very, reserved and just classy all the time, and we don't get to see him hoot and hollering at the television.
Yes, this is the side of him that the fans call Dorkerer.
I love Dorker. I would love Federer more if he was more Dorker. Oh gosh, that's hard to say 3 times fast.
Federer.
It's like a Gershberms. I'm making my own Gershberms meme.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
So that's that. Oh, and we were supposed to talk about Lauren Davis a little earlier about in this match, she hilariously on the changeover pulled out a jar of peanut butter and started eating it with a spoon.
Yes. And Valerie went on Twitter. It was like, what is she, 12? Like, okay. Eating peanut butter out of the jar is not just a kid thing. I will fight you. No. But it is such a comedic thing to just casually take out a huge ass jar of peanut butter.
It was too. It was like
and then just take that spoon and then just put it back, like, and like nothing ever happened. Like it's completely normal to see that.
Yes, it was hilarious. And then of course I tweeted that, and I got like 3 tweets from people that said, "Well, actually, it's almond butter."
How do you know?
Apparently she said later because they asked her about it, or maybe they recognized it because it was from Trader Joe's. It was Trader Joe's almond butter. But I'm like, really? I'm just here making jokes, people. It's not that serious bit of information. It's almond butter. That's totally different. Pulling out a jar of almond butter isn't weird at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, kids are allergic to peanut butter now. You can't make peanut butter sandwiches anymore for your schools.
I know.
Your kids' school lunch.
Exactly.
It's so weird to me because I'm like, that's such a staple. And like, it's weird that now there's so many allergies now.
Yes.
Crazy. So. But I was going to say, I have a friend who ruins all of my jokes. Like, they have to be super accurate. Because she will ruin them. She will destroy them. You can't have a typo. You can't, like, everything has to be logical. Like, your joke has to be really good. And so now every time I have a joke that, like, she thinks is amazing, I get so happy.
Right.
Because I know she will destroy it. Like, she won't just go, LOL. Like, most people do. Like, she will tear you up.
Right. Well, Twitter is good for that. There's a lot of people that are ready and waiting.
Yeah, it ups your comedy game because you have to be really careful about what you say.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if you're not accurate, they will destroy you.
So that's that.
So I love this. Oh wait, I have to think. First of all, so the fans are fishing. And there's like fishing wire over here. Oh, I'm pointing. You can't see me. Sorry. And so here's the thing. There are two things I love about this. One, this is kind of genius. Like this is really clever. However, the woman getting hit with the clever probably
Yes.
isn't so amused. So you know her job. Like they made her stand there. Like poor thing, she should have just like moved off to the side.
Yes.
But you
Yeah.
know they made her stand there. And the
Yes.
poor thing's just getting pelted with random things. And like
Yeah.
she's trying and she's laughing because she's trying to get away from it. She's trying to find a spot where she can stand where she's not getting pelted with everything.
Yes.
And look at her. It's just like she's trying. And why does that person still have that there?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, the people are right there. They can see her. Why would you bop her in the face with something? It's just like.
The thing is, like, Federer had moved on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Federer
Right.
wasn't even over there. And
Right.
he's still, like, not even, like, putting it up a little.
Right.
Like, out of her face. And it looks
Right.
like he's trying to hit her in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, I laugh. Like, I just go, poor her. Like, this is really clever. But, like,
Yeah.
she's getting hit with all that clever. And she's probably really not amused.
Yeah, exactly.
But that is clever. Look at all those contraptions.
I
Even the
know.
ball. How did they hook the ball in it?
That's a good question.
Do you see the one ball that's
Yeah.
hooked? How? I want to know. Like, this is like prison level shit. Like prisoners, inmates
in
do
there.
this thing, and it's called fishing. And
Oh
I'm
my
amazed.
God.
Like, I watch Lockup, and I'm amazed that they can fish. Like, they have this string, and they can make it go through different floors. Like, and it has to go like out their door, down the stairs, and inside another inmate's cell. And it's like physics I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how they do it. And it, like, for the longest time, like, I'd watch Lockup and it would kill me, and I would want to write to the inmate who did it and be like, please explain this to me. I saw you do this on Lockup.
Well, the one I can see is they've made like a net out of the string, so then the ball's sitting inside of it.
That's crazy. How did they know, like, how much time? Like, they knew they were gonna sit there. Like, they knew they were gonna get there, so they, like, I mean, that's some prep, man.
They're doing little origami animals right now. They're waiting for signatures. These
That's
people have
crazy.
skills.
No, that's amazing. And I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere else. Because
Yeah.
everybody just holds their shit.
Yeah, usually
And
I've
just
seen
lays
some
down.
stuff on strings before, but this is really extensive.
And everybody, like,
Yeah.
everybody has been former inmates, apparently. And they can makeshift shit.
Well,
They
it is
can
Australia,
makeshift
so
shit really fast. They can just, man, that's amazing. Sorry, I'm fascinated by this in so many levels. And then that poor girl just getting pelted in the face.
I know. I hope she got like hazard pay for
Maybe
this.
they were trying to put the hat on her.
Oh, who knows? I'm
It
sure.
seemed like they were trying to just hit her in the face. Maybe they were trying to get the hat on her. Maybe they thought they'd win a prize, like at a fair, like if you can
get the hat on the model. Oh my
get the
God.
hat on the goldfish,
Yeah, oh my God.
and you will win that goldfish. All right, we'll move on.
Oh, this was Sigemund's reaction to beating Yelena. She was just so hilarious, so perky. She has an amazing figure too, by the way. That was the first thing I noticed. I'm like, wow, this girl is she's built. um, and I said she played really, really well, and it was a fun match against Yelena. But then that reaction when she won was so frenetic. Like you can see that the speed of the video can't even keep up with her. She was bouncing up and down so fast. So
Yeah, I know. It looks like it's in fast forward.
yeah, like Yelena was even laughing when she came to the net because it was just so hilarious. It was like, woo! Which is kind of nice. I like it when, it's like, it is a huge milestone for them. It means they care, it's like everybody's kind of a lot of times really big on, having the correct demeanor and stuff like that. And it's like, this was nice to see somebody with a really natural, exuberant reaction.
Yeah, definitely. Like, holy shit, I just won!
Yeah, woo! It's like the $1 million lottery.
Yeah.
Oh, this was just a little thing that made me laugh. When Wozniacki went out earlier, they said the St. Petersburg tournament director said perhaps she lost early in Melbourne in order to better prepare for our tournament, which was just so awesome because I've always hated that a lot of players say things like, "Oh, this is a warm-up tournament. Oh, I only played a couple rounds and then, like Tomic, I'm just going to retire so that I can be ready for the slam." And that's why I've always liked Roger, because Roger always says if I'm playing a tournament, I care about it and I want to win it. This is not
Yeah.
just, oh, the next step to whatever. He's like, these are, if I don't care about a tournament, I just don't play it.
Yeah.
So I thought this was kind of funny, really. If she lost early at the Australian Open, because maybe she wanted to prepare for our tournament. like it's like brilliant. It's like I had to,
Trolling.
yes, like like that is totally awesome. So props to the director.
Total trolling.
Speaking of trolling,
Haha.
this picture surfaced after Nando won his incredible match against Rafa. I don't know if he is rubbing Stepanik for good luck for the next round.
Oh my gosh. Maybe that's how like all his women like.
That's how they did well in tennis, is
Yeah, he's
rubbing
a
the Stepanik.
yeah.
And Stepanik is always that kind of guy that seems to be doing inappropriate things or freaking people out. I don't know.
Freaking people out.
Freaking people out. And this is, and there's, because Stepanik gets so many attractive women, everyone always says, well, there must be something about him that they, are interested in. And he's got a lot of towel covering him. So we're not sure. Maybe needed all of that towel. So this is just an interesting picture all
I just
around.
love how they're casually watching something
Yeah, like
and
they're
he's
watching the
just
match or
casually
something.
rubbing him like totally normal photo, not weird at all.
I know.
Just dudes rubbing other dudes. Nothing to see here.
Yes. It's a lot of times they say that, there's only a certain amount of physios or whatever if you don't have your own people. And so then you have to wait. You have to like make an appointment. And so maybe it was just like, hey, Nando, can
You
you help
rub
me
this
out
one
while I'm
out.
waiting? Oh my God. That was actually funny too. And there was commentating, Steve Weissman, who generally works for ESPN. He's been doing some stuff for Tennis Channel. I really like him. He's a fun commentator. He has a well developed sense of sarcasm. But he was they were talking about a match, and I can't remember who it was. A female commentator. It might have been Tracy Austin, and she was talking about that a lot of the players have their own physios, and they get a massage like after they get a massage every match or whatever. And Steve Weissman got completely freaked out by this, and he was like, before they go on, they get a, they get a rub down, and she was like, no, it's after the match, to loosen the muscles up and everything. And it became this super awkward conversation because for some reason this was like very disturbing to him. Like these guys are, it's like they're not getting a happy ending. It's totally, it's for training. But
Maybe
he
he
saw
sees like
this.
these masseuses like his image of it is
Yeah.
different than reality of it.
Yes, this fantasy life is
Yeah.
that might have said something about him more than about the players. But it was just so funny because it was like I'm talking about rub downs with a woman, and just got super awkward. And, and I could tell Tracy was kind of like, "What is your problem?"
Why is this weird to you, dude?
Yeah, it's like, haven't you like talked about tennis before? You didn't know this. So maybe I should send this picture to Steve. He actually follows me on Twitter, so here's an example of what goes on before or after the matches. We're not sure.
It's funny that he's uncomfortable with it, yet he follows you on Twitter.
He must not be reading me with any regularity.
Yeah.
I was kind of I can't remember. There was like a couple tweets of mine that he favorited that he liked. It seemed like it was in the bolder stuff that I was saying. That's why he ended up following me. I said he has a really good sense of humor, and I said he's very sarcastic, but this particular thing seemed to freak him out. So yeah, I don't know, all the talking about asses on my timeline. He must be missing that.
Yeah, apparently.
So we can move on.
Oh, I thought I was gonna exit out. I thought this was. I love this picture. It just looks so photogenic. Wow,
Yes.
can I not speak today? Whatever. You guys know what I meant. I said it earlier, and it was fine. Anyway, just look at the koala. Like everything, they look like models. Like this looks like such a professional photo. Where
That's
you
true.
see, like the other photos of them holding animals, it doesn't look so catalog-y. Like I don't know what they're selling. And like just his deep blue eyes, like I don't know. It just looked like a catalog photo.
Yeah, and like the perfect sunlight, everything's
Yeah.
lit up perfectly.
The lighting, it just looks like so professionally done. Like it just seemed funny. It
Yeah.
just one of those photos that just I thought were really funny. And you had some interesting things about Goffin.
I know this is the problem. I have a lot of people on my timeline that love Goffin and think he's so adorable and cute, and I personally find him a little creepy. There's something in the eyes that there's like not a lot there, and it freaks me out.
His
I don't know.
cold, dead koala eyes.
Yes, because it's kind of.
He's gonna have his koala kill you while he watches.
I know, that's what it's like. He's gonna put you in his oven. It's just that I don't know what it is, and I feel terrible because I don't know anything about him as a person. Hopefully, he's a perfectly nice person. He seems to be, but
You look like a murderer. Like, and you just watch me. Like, set me on fire and then just watch me.
well, now that you're saying this, looking at this picture, I'm gonna have nightmares now.
I know. I didn't realize. See, I just thought this is a really cute, beautiful picture, and now all I can see is creepy as hell. Thank you, Valerie.
See, I've ruined it for everyone.
You did. You ruined it.
And I don't know if it's like a newer development or something, because I know sometimes these guys have trouble that have super baby faces. It's like when they get older, they try to do these beardy things and try to look older, and it just makes it look worse. Elijah Wood has the same problem. It's just like just don't try. Just go with the baby face.
Oh my gosh.
Because the combination just ends up looking creepy. I don't know.
That's funny. Oh my god, speaking of bull riding, this one rider tried to grow a mustache.
Oh no.
And it just kind of came off as like creepy white boy teenage mustache where it's like barely grown in. And it looks like he just has dirt on his face. Like like he just drank chocolate milk. It doesn't look like anything.
Right.
And everybody was made fun of him, so he finally shaved it off.
Yes,
But
sometimes it's like just don't try. Don't try.
Don't try. It's fine.
Oh, speaking of trying, this is awesome. This is off of the TV. I took a picture of it because I'm like, Andy looks so awesome. It's just like this shiny patterned jacket, and with the we were talking about the microphone, like he's like in a boy band. His hair was perfect, like the lights shining through it and stuff, and I'm just like, Andy looks hot.
You guys, I'm sexually attracted to this jacket. Like, he looks good.
Yes.
He looks good. People are making fun of him, but like,
no, yeah, I didn't
wear it all the time, man. Don't take it off.
I know.
Just wear that jacket.
Yeah, I remember Andy when he won a slam. The next kit that he was wearing was like 2 sizes smaller. And he was like all pecs and abs and stuff and ass. And it was like, whoa, Andy. Hello. It's like, I want a slam. I can be sexy now.
I want to slam. Now you want to slam.
Exactly. And it's just like getting married seems to agree with him. And so he just seems to like keep getting hotter. It's like his clothes are getting better. And He cares about what his hair looks like. It's like I like it. I keep up the good work.
It's good. It's a good jacket. Now, from the good to the weird and wonderful, I love this. Marcelo Mello and Tommy Robredo. Tommy Robredo actually sent this picture, as you can see, to Marcelo, and they took a trip to Wonderland. Apparently,
That is hilarious.
hopefully they weren't late for a very important date.
Dates. No time to say hello or goodbye.
So yeah, I love this, and I was so bummed that for my top tens on Outside the Ball, I use Instagram, and I was kind of bummed that I didn't see them post it on Instagram. I would have used it.
Yeah, this is all kinds of awesome, especially like because Mello is, I think, probably not even like standing on his toes or anything. He's just that much taller than Tommy. And Tommy with the sweater over the shoulder. It's like this is just awesome.
Everything about it is just beautiful. I love tennis.
Yeah.
And Lucas Rosol.
Yes.
He tried and he failed.
No.
He
And
almost
I
took
almost-
out a ball kid.
Just
I
gonna
wish
say that.
I so wish he hit that ball kid. Like I wish so bad.
Great, you're wishing harm on children. Boom.
It wasn't going that fast. It would have been all right.
Oh, yeah, this was an interesting match too because Brasal is just determined to be a jackass. And probably especially in certain matches because he knows Stan has a little bit of a temper, and so if you irritate him, you can distract him and then things will go your way. So Brasal was doing some kind of minor gamesmanshipy things like moving around a lot on return and uh like stare downs at the net and stuff. And you could tell that Stan was trying so hard to be like, I'm awesome, and I don't give a shit about what you're doing, and I'm just gonna hit a winner past you. It's just like this testosterone thing. Both of them trying to like outman each other.
Yeah.
And then Rasal did this tweener, and it was like, you've lost. There's, you look completely stupid now. You were trying to be like, cool and show him up with this awesome tweener, and no. And you almost took out.
Sorry, I was watching it. I was so into this. I watched this so many times because it's so funny.
And what's probably even better is like Rasal lost to Stan, pretty easy for Stan. He lost to a guy in a sherbet outfit, like just that extra little bit of ha ha.
No ice cream for you.
No ice cream for you.
Oh, man.
It was more of our interesting accents.
I know, we're weird. Okay, she brought this up, so I'm gonna let you take it.
This is just amazing. I was dying when I saw this tweet because number one, it just looks insane. It doesn't even look real. It looks like it's been photoshopped. And secondly, because this is something that my husband always points out, that they'll be showing, somebody preparing to serve, and he'll go, "Oh, another master of fitness being a linesman," So he always points these things out, or like at night, the linesman will have sunglasses on.
Yeah.
He's always very focused on what the linesmen are doing or look like, but this juxtaposition is just insane.
It looks like someone released the air out of him.
Oh no!
Like during the match.
Oh god, it does.
It does. It looks like someone released the air.
Oh
Because
no!
the one on the right, like he doesn't look real. Like he
No.
looks so flat that
Yes.
it looks like a cartoon.
Yes.
It just looks like an old Acme cartoon.
Yes.
Someone
Exactly.
released the air out.
Oh no, Balloon Man.
I know there was one time I do notice the lines people sometimes, and I felt so bad, but I noticed her because I was watching Gilles Simon, and you know how he's so tiny. Like
Yes.
one of her legs was bigger than his whole body. Like
Oh
she
my
was
goodness.
a bigger like woman completely, and
Yes.
he was so
Yes.
tiny. And just him standing next to her, like I felt so bad thinking that because I don't like to be like that, but I just
Right.
because like you said, comparing them next to each other,
Yes.
and you're just like, holy crap, that is a huge difference.
Yes.
And you can't help but notice it. And
And
you don't
and
want to be mean about it, but it's just
yeah, it's too much. And this is always my thing too about all tournament wear that I know what they're going for is being orderly and stuff, but you have these people and you make them tuck their shirt into khaki pants, which are flattering on no one. And it's just like you're just being cruel. It's like if both these guys had their shirts out, it probably wouldn't be as noticeable. It's just like, but and let's tuck the shirt in and put a belt on, and it's just like, oh,
the one on the
fashion
right needs
disaster.
another belt.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
flat, like he just looks like his clothes aren't gonna stay up on him.
I know.
He looks like he got run over in a cartoon.
I know that's what it is. It's just like because that's when I first saw this. I'm like, did they just this photo or something? But I'm like, Aliash looks normal. It's just like this is insane.
Yeah, that's weird.
So this is our mocking episode apparently.
I feel bad. We're awful people.
This one just made me laugh. I because I saw the picture of Felly and saw I've always liked orange. It's from Judy, and I'm like, oh my god, she's just like us.
My favorite thing is when Valerie sent this to me, she titled it Judy Being Thirsty.
Yes. Which she is. So which I can't blame her because just look at him.
Yeah,
And
but I love how her love for Felly has like gone on for years.
yes.
Like it's not going away. She is loyal.
That's right.
She picked her man. She's sticking to it.
That's right. And I admire that. And I admire she never apologizes for these kind of
No,
comments. She just, this is what I want.
she shouldn't apologize.
No, no.
She likes oranges.
Yes. I like peaches. Oh, Felly. Okay.
Okay.
And
So
then,
speaking of thirsty, the Cincinnati tournament posted this picture of Sam Querrey and said, "It's Thirsty Thursday," which I didn't know was a thing.
yeah.
And you know what that means. Stay hydrated with water or other things. Now here's the thing. And I was the only one that commented on it, and I gave him a clap because this made my day.
Yeah.
And I posted this on Twitter and no one responded to it. So apparently no one finds this as funny as I do.
I know.
Because I know they mean like alcohol, but
I don't,
you
do they?
know,
I don't know.
I assume they mean alcohol because they said like happy hour and stuff. So I said
Oh, that's true.
head.
They did. But Bill,
They probably meant
happy hour.
alcohol. But in my head,
I know, because that's
in
what
my head,
you sent this to me, and I was like, oh my god.
yeah, because I know they meant alcohol, but in my head I go, did they know what thirsty means?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
thirsty, like water or other things. And in my head I'm going, penis.
That sounded like that Nole commercial.
I know.
No,
I know.
I
So
can't.
I try to make it creepy. Uh,
Did Goffin say that?
uh, that's what he says as you're on fire.
Oh my god. This has gone to a weird place.
It really has. It really goes. We never know where our shows are gonna go. Like we do plan. Like we plan out our topics and stuff, and sometimes we'll think of a joke or something, but then other times it just goes
Yeah.
this direction we don't expect.
No.
And like it's a weird ride.
It took a turn.
It took a turn. It took a hard left. A hard left. Yeah, so
I think on that note, we can probably.
wrap our weird shit up. So yeah, so you can follow Valerie of tennisinsideout.com at Tennis Inside Out. And you can follow me, Courtney Massey, at Courtney Mania or at outside_the ball. Do you like that voice? That weird, creepy voice?
Sounds so
Do I
weird.
sound like I'm going to kill somebody now? Also, for Outside the Ball, there's some new things in the works. Possibly some giveaways and some other
Ooh.
stuff. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, so hopefully I was allowed to say that. But there's a lot of things that I hear that's going to be in the works, so definitely follow them to check that out. A lot of fun stuff.
That
And
is
yeah,
awesome.
thanks,
And
guys.
the Australian Open was there were a lot of milestones this tournament. Roger got to the 300 slam wins. Thankfully, they didn't jinx him. Sharapova got to 600 match wins, and Stan got to 400.
Ooh,
And I got to 150,000 tweets,
awesome.
which is like, is that a lot? And people were tweeting me and going, I've been on here for 7 years and I have like 19,000 tweets. So I tweet a lot.
Yeah, no one could shut you up.
No, I have things to say. I have
You have butts to,
share.
yeah. I was
Ogle.
gonna say review, but yeah,
Review. There you go.
butts to review.
Reveal and review. So it was a big tournament. You
It
know.
was.
So we should probably kill this before it goes anywhere
Yeah,
else.
yeah. We're gonna go to a weird place if we don't kill it soon.
So thank you everyone for listening, and this has been the night session.